According to a report from the Muslim Community Network, between the year 2019 and 2022, a staggering 76% of Muslims in New York City witnessed a hate crime, with 49% becoming victims themselves. These incidents begin as early as elementary school. The report emphasizes the urgent need to address these challenges and create a more inclusive society. Joining me now and sharing more is the founder of Muslim Media Corporation, the publisher of Muslim Community Report, and the CEO of halalfinder.com, Sheikh Musa Drammeh. And it's good to have you. And we've had you on a lot of different platforms. I think it's the first time we had you here on social justice. But thank you for coming and sharing with us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm back home.
Yes, glad to have you back home, and glad to have this conversation. And not glad for the content of the conversation, but glad to have the conversation. We talk about these numbers. They continue to rise when it comes to Muslim hate. More and more people seem to, join in on the bandwagon, if you will. A lot of this is caused by extremists, and some are called by radicalists right here in the United States. What are you saying?
Yes, well, there are two sides to it. Number one, we condemn any kind of crime, whether it's a biased crime or just regular crime. And obviously, crimes against Muslims have not been a welcoming news since 9/11, because unfortunately we have a lot of ignorance, around the world that identify Muslims with the perpetrators of the heinous crime of 9/11. That's one thing. However, the other side of it is that when it comes to crimes against religiosity, Muslims are not the top priority for the hate crime committers. The Jewish community still, experience the brunt of crimes against, a group because of their religiosity. Here in New York City, we're very fortunate for the fact that even though, the Muslim Network did the report, but if you look at the numbers, it's not as high as it is being made to be alarming. Overall hate crimes in New York City dropped this year, including, Islamophobia or crimes against Muslims. So yes, we should be open arms, in preventing further deterioration of our communities, but it is not at the rate that some organizations made it to be.
Okay, so the numbers are lower. What does this mean? We got more loving people, or what's this going on?
Yeah. What it means is that we have to give credit to the enlightened elected officials and the diverse law enforcement communities. If you take NYPD, for example, today NYPD reflected the true nature of the city. You have one of the largest concentration of Muslim law enforcement who are now serving in the NYPD. And you name it, country-wise, language-wise, culture-wise, they represent it. And because of that, in the last several years, the ignorance among New Yorkers about each other has dissipated, because we became pretty much one beautiful, diverse community. Eric Adams, for example, the current mayor, campaigned on 5 borough New York City, went to every neighborhood, meet with every group, and because of that, his policy reflects that inclusiveness, and Muslims are benefiting from that. So we are more enlightened with the beauty of diversity now than before, and Muslims, among others, are the beneficiary of this newly enlightenment that we've acquired. Right. So the bottom line is that, yes, we should cry for any type of hate crimes or any crime whatsoever, but I'm here to tell you that Muslims are not the worst victims of hate crimes yet.
Even though you're not the worst, still feeling the pain, right?
Absolutely.
And the pain is real. What's it like, from an insider perspective, living in the Muslim community, knowing that how the world perceives, knowing that how people perceive sometimes right here in this very city?
I hold so many forums. I'm a panelist to so many universities and interfaith, intergroups. And I always ask the audience, when do you think Islam arrived in the United States? people said, oh, the slaves bring in the West Africans, this and that. And I said, no. Islam arrived on 9/11. If you take it from that perspective, then you can reason with the mentality that most people who are not Muslim have. Because when they see Muslims, with the ugliness and the painfulness of 9/11, it reminds them of the ugliest part of humanity. Therefore, once you come up from that perspective, you can reason with them. You can understand their ignorance, their fear, and their justified concern before they get to know you. So my advice to Muslims is that we came from a very broken society, colonial society. You recently came from Africa. You see how broken, ethnic, tribal, religion, you name it. And that brokenness, unfortunately, sometimes we carry it to the West, and when we do that, we pretty much reinforce the stereotype that other people have about us. So I am more harsh on Muslims, being those who embrace diversity and welcome the new environment in which they adopted than anti-Muslims, So I'm always contrarian to many issues, as you can tell. That's why I'm not alarmed about Islamophobia yet, because overall, Muslims are not, again, the biggest victims.
We identified the problem, right? But let's talk a little bit about solutions. You've been at the forefront of solution because you've had peace talks.
Yes.
You've had awareness.
Yes.
What do you feel has been the success of the work that you're doing in terms of bridging that gap? If we want to talk about lower numbers, gotta give you some credit there, right? Because you're out on the battlefield. There's a lot of other people who are like you who are out on the battlefield, really having these conversations and doing some things. So what are some of the things that are being done right now to bring that awareness and also to mitigate these numbers?
Absolutely, and I'm glad that you asked this question. Immediately after 9/11, as you can remember clearly, the Muslim world went into hiding. Muslim leaders, Muslim scholars, imams were not talking. And my Santa said, no, we got to fill the void. People are concerned and scared, and they don't know who to trust, where to go, what to believe. They don't know Muslims. We said we're going to open 24 hours, 7 days a week as an information retrieval center. Let the whole world come and ask us, and we did that. And if you remember, the first couple of months after 9/11, whenever you see these hardened criminals on one side of your TV screen, you see me on the other side, challenging every single narrative that they're peddling, every single conceivable, verses or justification to violence and hate and extremism. I was there challenging it. The PBS or CBS News, Channel 2, came to the Bronx and went to Brooklyn and visited some of the Islamic centers, came to our center, 24 hours, 7 days a week open. No security guard, no alarm, nothing, everything open. And when everywhere else, they had these big guys guarding their doors and whatever. Then the question was, what is the difference between the Muslims in the Bronx and the rest of the Muslims? And you know what the difference was? Prior to 9/11, we had implemented the seed of being part of the community. We're Muslims, but we're not different. We're immigrants, but we're not different. So together we work to cultivate an environment that is, conducive for peaceful coexistence. And that seed now, from 22 years ago until today, is the only solution. We are one human family. We may come from different backgrounds, we may look different, we may speak different, but at the end of the day, we are one human family. Now, we don't have to agree on everything, but at the same time, we do not have to be the burden or liability to one another because of the differences. And that is exactly the solution that we have germinated and continue to cultivate it, and nothing else.
We talk a lot with people who are activists, whether it's, a Black Lives Matter activist, it could be somebody from the Latinx community, it could be the LGBTQ community. One of the things that happens is they have a tendency of saying, I get laryngitis because I've been talking a lot and nobody's listening, so I lose my voice. What do you feel? Do you feel now that the people are listening more? Are people more heightened? I mean, I think after George Floyd, we talked about, this show was birthed after George Floyd. I think when people start to see things, now a mindset is like, okay, maybe everything people are talking about isn't so far-fetched. It's real. Are people catching on?
You know, some people are catching on, but the problem also when you have these organizations and activists that are peddling either race or gender or other issues, the problem has always been monetizing it. We take, public's feeling and we try to package it and monetizing it. And Black Lives Matter is a perfect example. Right now we're discovering that, yeah, the hype, you get the whole world, condemning what is happening. Money is being sent, where is the money? And then many, many groups that have championed equality, race, all these things. The problem has always been the language does not correspond to the real agenda that they are, promoting. And they're not practicing what they're preaching or walking their talk. This including my own religion. The organizations that are doing 200 people survey, 300 people survey, and said 78% of the Americans don't like Muslims. But you only talk to 200 people. All you're trying to do is justify your organization's existence and funding, including this Islamophobia type of thing. Muslims are not the biggest victims. And also when it comes to race, there are a lot of people who promote race, and they completely ignore that the majority of people pro-equality are not even, black. If you are, let's say, pro-black, majority of your supporters not black. So are you discounting them? So this is why a lot of times we keep talking and people not listening, because we're not really making a lot of sense, because we keep recycling the same exact thing. Last but not least, after Amadou Diallo's killing, by the NYPD, those opportunists took full advantage of it, and everybody. And at the end of the day, I wrote to all of them, and I said, one more march about Amadou Diallo, we will expose you. Because I knew the inner workings of what was going on. I attended the meetings, I knew about the money issue, all these things. The language never ever met the real objective of seeking justice for Amadou Diallo. And unfortunately, this is the problem that we're having. That's why I am not at all alarmed about a lot of the statistics, because the numbers don't make sense a lot of times, or even if they do make sense, they're all monetizing it for their benefit.
What are some of the initiatives that you got going on that maybe people can pay attention to?
We
don't have a whole show. I got a whole. Yeah, we can have a whole show, but give me a couple.
I got you. Our latest initiative is that, health and wellness. We live. Let's take the Bronx. We're part of New York City. I say to elected officials, we're part of New York City, for God's sake. How come we are last in all things good and first in all things bad? When it comes to health, education, poverty, every single thing we are last. We got to change it, because Bronx is not a county that has all the social elements of being bad. We just made it bad. So we have now created an organization called National Center for Health Equity. And our goal here is to remove Bronx from being the 62nd county in health metrics and raise it up to the top 10. We can do it because Bronx is the greenest county. And to join the movement, you got to talk to us, because we cannot continue to die from ailments and sicknesses and disease that are caused by junk foods and sugary drinks and sedentary lifestyles and all kinds of things that we can avoid. There is not a single thing that is killing us, including cancer and diabetes, high blood pressure, that cannot be prevented. All of them are preventable with healthy lifestyle. And our latest campaign is healthy lifestyle. We call it a lifestyle lifespan. You look at the hip-hop community, global community, but now young guys are dying because of unhealthy lifestyle. So we can change it. So we're promoting lifestyle lifespan, which is a New York healthy lifestyle campaign.
Before we get out of here, I got to give you the opportunity to share with our viewers, how can people get in touch with you? What, if they want to join the initiative, be a part of this movement, how to do that? Absolutely,
yeah. Social media, lifestyle, lifespan. You can get there, or you go to our website, which is nationalhealthequity.org, nationalhealthequity.org, and my telephone number is 718-822-5555, 822-5555.
Sheikh, I gotta ask you, as a Muslim living here, knowing a lot of those who reside in the Muslim community, is there still a sense of fear on the part of many people who are Muslim, given the fact of all these things that we've talked about, or do you feel that people are walking with a sense of more freedom?
No. Again, there are different camps. You know, the more enlightened Muslims feel harm, they feel safe and secure. But those who are getting their information from small circles and, control, communications, of course, they're fearful because, unfortunately, we have these global satellites that give different cultures and what is happening. Perfect example, what happened in Palestine, Israel. The way you see it in the Arabic Muslim lens is completely different from the way you see it in the Western lenses. So if these people are staying in their homes and watching what is happening in Palestine, Kashmir, and some other part of the Muslim world, or watching a Muslim woman being attacked because of hijab, whatever, that's what they believe permeates the whole thing. But the enlightened Muslims, no problem, they feel home safe and secure.
I'll leave it there. Sheikh Musa Drammeh, good to have you.
Thank you, absolutely.
All righty. Got to take a quick break, but guess what? We'll have more, I should say, on the Social Justice Forum right after this.